Yeah, he said he just got
He just got a cut, yeah. Try to figure that out.
Oh, hey guys.
Well, I'm AJ.
There's a port on a western bay, and it serves 100 ships a day. Lonely sailors pass the time away and talk about their homes. All right, guys, we're excited today because we got Elliot Lurie in the house.
Yeah.
I am DC, your host, and AJ, proprietor, head bartender.
I'm here.
Of AJ's on Main Street in historic downtown Grapevine, Texas. And today, guys, it's freaking Flag Day here in the U.S. of A. We're excited about that because it commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States of America on this day in 1777, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. By resolution of the Second Continental Congress. The flag resolution passed on June 14, 1777 stated, resolved that the flag of the 13 United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white, in a blue field representing a new constellation. The United States Army also celebrates the U.S. Army birthday on this date. Congress adopted the American Continental Army after reaching a consensus position in the Committee of the Whole on June 14th, 1777. AJ?
So hold on. Happy fucking birthday.
That's right, Army.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. What are we drinking today, AJ?
A Summerfest.
Summerfest, made by
Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada. Mm-hmm.
That's good shit.
Mm-hmm.
A little hazy session IPA.
Yeah, so come down to AJ's and get you some. Well, guys, we are on the air at AJ's Bar, located at 651 South Main Street in historic downtown Grapevine, Texas. And wherever you are in the world, we hope you're sharing Barside Jive with your friends and family. Let's bust a move. We did that for you, Elliot. That's enough. Featured guest today is Elliot Lurie. Let me tell you a little bit about him.
Tell me about it.
Okay. He was born August 19th, 1948. He's an American musician, which is rare for this show. Usually they're Canadian. Yeah. Who was the lead guitarist and songwriter and frequently the lead vocalist for the band Looking Glass from 69 to 1974. He wrote and sang on their 1972 #1 hit single, Brandy.
That's a
You're a
badass
fine
song.
girl,
That's
isn't
a
it?
badass song.
Isn't it? And then their 1973 top 40 single, Jimmy Loves Marianne. And here he is now, Elliot Lurie.
Hey, this is Elliot Lurie of Looking Glass, Brandy, and you're watching Barside Jive.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Making a little adjustment there. Thanks, Elliot. This is about the time of the show when I turned to AJ and asked him what we're drinking, but I already did that, so
We'll just bypass that.
keep going, keep rolling.
All right.
Barside Jive is sponsored by the legendary Zoo.
The Zoo.
On vocal.
The Zoo, king of classic rock with deep cuts, B-sides, all that stuff you'll never hear on corporate radio. The Zoo is streamed universally 24 7365. Guys, the zoo will never die. We'll die, but the zoo will never die. In addition to my guest segment, which comes later in the show, I've got unconventional news, non-traditional weather, our weird world of sports and traffic that's sure to make you go, what the hell did I just see? Delivered with that edginess, that rawness that you crave, but you'll never get from those fantasy media outlets. You know, some of our stuff is satire simply because we got to laugh to keep from crying, but the big difference in us and those other guys is that we are actually entertaining. Right, Tony? So hang on, because you don't want to miss a thing.
Wait.
Hey.
Tony, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What do you think about these fucking glasses?
Yeah, those chick glasses. No, they're pimp
They're
glasses.
Elvis glasses.
Some chick left them on the bar the other night.
They are.
But you know what?
Elvis-like.
When I tried them on, I was like, these are badass.
Yeah.
Hey, they're
I like
Elvis-esque.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, cool. So, I got a joke.
Okay.
Okay.
Lay it
so,
on me.
so this man walks into a bar. Hold on. I'm just kidding. So there's this new ice cream parlor in town, and a man decides to go check it out.
Who's Amanda?
No, a man.
Oh, a man.
He goes go check it out.
Decides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he walks in and says to the man behind the counter, the ice cream dude, he says, I'll take a scoop of chocolate in a cone. Did you know last Monday was National Chocolate Ice Cream Day?
Son of a gun.
Yeah. So he says,
I missed that.
I'll take a scoop of chocolate in a cone. The man behind the counter replies, sorry, sir, but we only carry vanilla and strawberry. So the man leaves and comes back the next day. He walks in and says to the man behind the counter, do you sell ice cream by the pint? If so, I'll take a pint of chocolate ice cream. And the same man behind the counter replies, sorry, sir, but like I said yesterday, we only have vanilla and strawberry. So the man turns around and leaves and comes back the next day. Well, the next day, ordering various sizes of chocolate ice cream each day until the man behind the counter is completely furious. One day, he again walks into the place and says, I'll take a gallon of chocolate ice cream. The guy behind the counter at this point is fed up and tired of this guy's complete lack of comprehending skills. So he tells him, buddy, go ahead and spell the van in vanilla. So the man says, V-A-N. So the guy behind the counter is pleased. And so he tells him then, that's good. Now spell the straw in strawberry. And the man easily spells S-T-R-A-W. So the guy behind the counter smiles. Now spell the fuck in chocolate. And the man replies, there is no fucking chocolate. The worker then shouts, that's what I've been trying to tell you the whole damn time.
Sounds to me like the guy needed to go to the fucking store and get some fucking chocolate.
He should. I mean,
What the fuck?
what ice cream place would
Yeah.
not carry chocolate?
That's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Get that guy on the phone right now,
Okay.
DC.
Call him up.
That's bullshit.
Use the bar phone, wherever it is.
Where's that?
I have, you know, how can we get phone calls without, I never have the bar phone. I give out the number. I need to bring it. I have it on good authority that you guys loved last week's life hack, so I decided to do it once again. So how about one of my life hacks? So our life hack number 338 is do not use a snake to hold your spaghetti easily.
Huh? Okay. Oh,
It's my life hack.
there's a picture there.
Yeah.
Missed it.
If you want to share, did you get it?
I got it. I
If
don't
you-
know why I got it, but
If
I
you
got it.
want to, because we've been drinking.
I didn't.
If you want to share your life hack or maybe some worthless information with us, give us a call on the bar phone, 469-844-1631. Because, you know, between all of us, we know everything.
Where's
kinda.
this bar phone?
And remember, don't bring it up. I forgot it. And remember, knowledge is power. So power up and give us a call. By the way, if today's your birthday and you want AJ to sing a little happy birthday song to you, just give us a call on the bar phone, 469-844-1631. Hey, Since we don't have it, maybe you should just sing Happy Birthday for him.
Where's the bar phone?
Just sing it.
Where's the bar
Just
phone?
sing the
It's
freaking
ringing.
song.
I hear it.
Sing the freaking song.
I've never even seen the bar phone.
Sing-
How many shows have we done? We don't have a bar phone.
Sing the freaking song.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Fuck off.
Hey, Joe, you are doing so well to that very end. Hey, be sure to check out my YouTube channel. Just search Barside Jive Live at youtube.com and click subscribe, and then click that little bitty bell to receive notifications when I post my premium content, which is free to all of you because you're premium people. Right, AJ?
Absolutely.
And now an important word from our friends over at morewood.org.
Wood's good.
Our team of writers say this is where I'm supposed to tell you guys a penis joke, but I just can't do it.
No, we don't need that.
I don't want to come off as cocky.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
But I can tell you one that's tree themed.
Okay.
Okay.
I like wood.
So, what was the tree's favorite thing about Star Trek? The captain's log, of course. Captain's log.
Wah, wah, wah.
We got that. We got that. We got the wah wah wah.
Do we?
Yeah, remember?
No. I did the cymbal crash.
No, we added the wah wah.
I got a moo.
Damn, we never have the right sound effects. Okay,
Amateurs.
so
How about
it's
a donkey?
it's the donkey works.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so it's time once again for that segment with all those big ass raving reviews. Our breaking news.
Whoosh, bum, 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 bum,
What a nice baritone voice you have.
That's a tuba.
Our top news story straight in from the Barside Jive news desk. Gay Americans starting to wish straight people would just chill out about Pride Month.
Yeah.
Straight people have, oh, this is out of Austin. Straight people have turned out in droves to celebrate Pride Month this year, and for many gay Americans, it's really starting to ruin the vibe. The TV airwaves have sustained a total takeover as corporations hawking everything from cereal to laundry detergent have invaded the refuge of rebels, formerly known as Pride. I can't buy a jar of pickles. Speaking of pickles, makes me want a pickle shot. I can't buy a jar of pickles without someone trying to score some gay points, complained local woman Sarah Rice. I mean, literally, it was nice to see gay couples in the occasional graham cracker commercial, but now my acne cream says it's LGBT affirming and my tooth floss is rainbow covered. I mean, it's ridiculous. Local events have also seen a massive influx from both corporations and would-be allies. Honestly thinking about skipping the Pride Parade this year and just having a cookout at home, said former parade organizer Steve Garcia. A bunch of straight people waving flags, all sponsored by Walgreens. That's basically a NASCAR event. Thanks, but no thanks. Mr. Garcia left for work, only to discover his coworkers had generously had his entire car spray painted with rainbow stripes. He sheepishly drove to his office where his door had been replaced with rainbow beads and a giant rainbow cake was sitting on his desk. Also in the news, woo, in honor of Pride Month, here are Barside Jive's top 2 genders. Well, it is Pride Month, barely, which is a time of celebration for all orientations, biological sexes, and genders. 30 full days. Well, we've only got, 15 days left or so?
Shit, I don't know.
Of celebrating
care.
all the letters in the LGBTQ plus alphabet. What fun. We at the Barside Jive don't want to get left behind, of course. So let's kick off Pride Month with a list of our top 2 genders. We had our entire staff vote on the favorite genders and narrowed it down to just the best 2. Here they are. Number 1, women.
Yeah.
Women took the top slot this year. Congratulations, women.
Top slut.
I love women.
Women are great. One of the best genders of all time, and everyone says so. They are really beautiful to look at, especially when they are married to you, and they smile at you with those beautiful faces of theirs. According to experts, women make life worth living and fill the world with sweetness, warmth, and love. They have the amazing ability to think about 32 things at the same time and predict infinite possible outcomes to every scenario, kind of like Doctor Strange. It's amazing. Women are so amazing, in fact, that men spend thousands of years fighting wars and building civilization just so women can have air conditioning, which we could have a little more of because I'm really sweating.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like 70 degrees in here.
I might burn it up.
Because you're sitting next to me.
Maybe. Many of us here at Barside Jive have even selected one wonderful person of this gender to spend the rest of our lives with, since they are so amazing. Of course, some of us are still waiting for that special someone to take us seriously.
I found mine.
I know you did. You want to talk about it?
You know, I just got to tell Megan how much I love her. We've been married 30 years.
Whoa.
How could she ever
There's
put up with the shit that I give her?
Megan.
That's
Or
fucked
the
up.
shit that she's given me.
Anyway,
You know, really though, I'm just going to be quiet.
great job, women.
Good job. Love you
Number
guys.
2, gender number 2 is men.
Oh, I want to talk about me.
Coming in a close second was men.
Yeah.
Many of us were surprised that men didn't take the top slot.
It's crazy.
They have the distinct advantage, after all, of throwing it up in the air what restaurant to go to. They're handy around the house, though. They drive better and are way better at telling dad jokes. They also risk their lives climbing high telephone poles and working on dangerous oil rigs and restocking AJ's beer supply. Also, women can have air conditioning, but those
And
factors,
fingernails.
fingernails, but those factors just weren't enough to push men to the top slot. They tend to be way less good looking than women and way smellier. Better luck next time, men. So congrats to the winners,
I'm okay with it.
both of them. And check back next year to see when the check back next year to see who the top 2 winners are. Top 2 genders.
Who came in third?
No one. We
Really?
just had 2. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's so many out there.
Yeah. I know. Just the top 2. They were the most popular. And Governor DeSantis signs controversial bill declaring the sky is blue.
That asshole.
Tallahassee, Florida, in a controversial move sure to cause outrage, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill declaring that the sky is blue.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, I
Oh, we
showed
did.
it.
Okay. Man, you're on the ball.
Matches his suit.
You're on the ball.
What a dick.
Through sheer malice, bigotry, and hatred, I declare the sky is blue, said DeSantis at the signing ceremony. Maybe next I'll declare grass is green, enforcing myopic
he cannot do that.
reality
I'm gonna
on
tell you right
everyone.
now. If he does that, there's going to be an uprising. I'm telling you right now. I'm
And
not
then,
putting up with that.
and then after that, he said, "Mwah." DeSantis then signed the bill with ink he declared to be black, no matter what anyone else thought about it.
What a dick.
Yep. No, colors exist on a spectrum, screamed an activist outside, who is to say the sky isn't yellow. I guess maybe some sort of device that measures the wavelength, compares it to known color values, but that doesn't override people's lived experiences.
What an asshole.
DeSantis is said to be considering weighing in on other controversial, divisive topics, such as declaring that the sun is hot, water is wet, and 2 plus 2 equals 4. All things PolitiFact rated as only half true.
He's full of shit on that 4 thing. I'm going to tell you right now. Bullshit.
That beer guy has a boring life, doesn't he?
This guy. This fucking guy here.
Also from the Barside Jive news desk, our trending news item segment is brought to you by our friends over at Body Action Products. And here he is, Body Action Products spokesperson, AJ.
What?
You're up.
I got to read this again? All these big fucking words? Come on.
Come on, hurry up.
Body Action Anal Bleach Gel is a super concentrated, intimate area skin lightening gel. It's formulated to help improve the appearance of uneven skin tone and diminished, discolored areas of the skin. Is it really discolored? It's ideal for anal, vaginal, penis, scrotum, nipples, dark underarms, and other intimate areas.
What other intimate areas are there?
There's
I
none.
think you've covered them all.
There's none.
How
I'm
about
telling you.
gums? The gums. Gums.
What?
Gums
Come on,
could be
who's going to
lightening.
bleach that? Oh, man.
For that asshole in your life.
It just needs to lighten the fuck up.
There you go. Oh, trending nationally, Tony.
Yeah.
Chicago Mayor Lightfoot agrees to a half interview with a half black journalist.
Good, good.
And Kamala Harris visits Tomb of the Unknown Soldier to tell him to enjoy the long weekend.
Yeah. It was a good weekend. Bitch.
What else we got? Oh, one of your favorites, people.
It's
Pouting LeBron James unplugs Sega Genesis while losing game of NBA Jam.
He's an asshole.
Well, guys, I hate to say this, but there you have it. I think it's time for some rock history. Well, guys, it's June 14th, and here are some reasons.
Is it Juneteenth?
June 14th.
When's Juneteenth? I can't believe you didn't bring that up.
Dude,
How insensitive.
it's not Juneteenth.
Okay.
It's
Well,
June 14th. And here are some reasons why this day matters in rock history. Because in 1970, Eric Clapton's band, Derek and the Dominoes, bet you didn't know that, did you?
Layla.
Played their first ever gig when they performed at London's Lyceum. In 1975, America, the band, went to #1 on the singles chart with Sister Golden Hair. In 1991, Foreigner released Unusual Heat, their album with original Wild Horses singer Johnny Edwards. It was a commercial failure. And in 2000, in England's Melody 2000, England's Melody Maker newspaper's annual Uncoolest People in Rock poll, Noel Gallagher from Oasis took first place. Marilyn Manson was runner-up.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking dude, man.
And that's what happened in rock history on this day, which means it's time for... Wait. We got breaking news coming in.
Oh my God.
Guys, we've got some breaking news. Multiple houses are on fire on Burwell Road in Leavittsburg, Ohio. Let's go out to Dante Blevnat, who is on the scene for an update on these horrendous house fires.
Do you know how this fire started?
Yes, I do. It was because of my cousin. And I don't want to mention no names.
It's your cousin.
Yes.
And you say you think your cousin started this. Do you know how or why?
He's mad because he can't get with me. I'm married to my husband. And it's a long story. Just to make it short. Yeah.
That dude was trying to get with her.
Oh, man.
Let's drink to her.
Cheers.
What we drinking today, AJ?
Tequila and bourbon.
We gonna tell them what brand?
No. They don't need no that shit.
It's just tequila and bourbon.
Yeah.
And there you have it.
They don't pay us enough to tell them what we're drinking.
You know, that was a great lead up to what's coming up next.
More whiskey?
Sports.
Oh. Okay.
But first, our national anthem, because it represents the tradition, history, and beliefs of our nation and its people and helps evoke feelings of patriotism among Americans and reminds us all of our nation's glory, beauty, and rich heritage. Okay. Guys, you may not be able to go to a sporting event where they stand for the national anthem, but here at Barside Jive, we do it regularly. At least every Monday. So you can always join us. Anyhow, back to sports. Today we bring you the highlights of the redneck, bull testicle, live minnow swallowing, and moonshine drinking competition. Let's go to Catfish Cooley, tableside.
Howdy world, this is Catfish Cooley. Y'all may have heard of a bunch of shit, but I bet y'all ain't never seen nobody have a bull ball eating contest. Me and a few of these gentlemen here, we're gonna put it to the test. Whenever we get done eating these balls, we're gonna eat some of these minnows here too. It's gonna be rough. We're gonna batter them up and go bun, by God. When your nuts get hot and sweaty, you gotta batter them up with something. Go check this shit out.
Buddy, you look good. Look at us, take a money job at the Hell yeah. Woo! I'm ready.
Do one more.
Surely you did two of those.
Man, don't that look fucking tasty. Well, here we are, folks. While y'all out there not having a good time, we're about to eat some raw fucking bull nuts. We're gonna down some minnows, and they all got moonshine, but I told them I quit drinking, so I'm gonna drink some fucking water. Some of that high quality H2O. Cheers, folks. I love y'all.
Alright, here we go. Oh my God. Eat that bull testicle, Eat that bull testicle. Yeah! Get it, Catfish. Come on.
It's so tough.
They got shit on you. Eat that. Y'all win. Oh, we already got one bite out. Let's go strong. Get the minnow. Let's go strong. Let him. Don't you throw that up. Let him drink that beer. I was eating jail food worse. Yeah. There you go. Let him drink that beer. You got to win. Come on. Tell Joseph Kelly's way. That's it. Finish it. Finish it. You got it. Like you say about waiting. Finish it. You got it. Finish it.
Don't do it. Bam.
Finish it.
Yeah. Come on. I got some.
You're fine. You're fine. Get that shit. Chase the beer and then chase those minnows with it.
Yeah.
Shoot the minnows. All of them.
Hey man, you got swallowed it from the source.
That's the
1, 2, 3.
Eat them. Oh, the Kentucky boy made it. Kentucky boy got bunker. Oh yeah. Oh.
AJ. Don't ever do that at home. Kids, don't ever do this at home.
I can't do it, man. Don't ever do that again to me. Oh God.
Oh man. But did you see that?
No.
Did you see the form?
No, I didn't. And let's just move on to the next fucking segment, okay?
Hey, don't want to do the instant replay.
No, I do not. God damn, that's gross, man. Fucking eyes are watering.
And just when you thought you'd seen everything here on Barside Jive, our sports has got to be way up there.
Man, that's nasty.
Hey, you come here for entertainment. We bring it strong every Monday. And now, a word from our friends over at Foghat Cellars.
Hi DC, thanks for having us on your show. And for you folks, I'm Roger Earl of the band Foghat, and these are our wines. Foghat Cellars. This is a Chardonnay from Monterey County, absolutely delicious. 2014. We have 2013 Pinot Noir from Monterey County. It's absolutely fabulous, a wonderful drinking wine. If you like Pinots, you'll love it. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon from Paso Robles. All our wines come from Central Coast of California. Steve Rasmussen is our winemaker, though in fact myself and Linda actually get involved in the making of some of our wines. Drink, enjoy, go to foghatcellars.com to find out how to get them. Thanks, bye.
Here I am. Don't forget to use don't forget to use the coupon Barside Jive at checkout. Fuck. Hold on. Start over. Shh. Hush. Get serious, DC. This is our job.
Okay.
All right. Don't forget to use the coupon code Barside Jive at the checkout screen for a 20% discount of your purchase. You can even get
your purchase. Not of.
Hey man,
you're doing good though.
Right.
I'm proud of you.
I lost my place now. Where was I?
Talking about the autograph.
You can even get your bottle autographed by the drummer Roger Earl, the only remaining member of the classic lineup, Foghat.
Absolutely. Foghatcellars.com.
Yep.
All right, Roger. Roger just turned 75.
Roger, happy birthday, buddy.
Again.
Send me some more wine.
We've told you about 14 times. Yeah, send me another case.
I'll keep telling you if you send me some more wine.
No, we'll quit reminding you about your birthday if
yeah.
you'll send us a case. Yeah. Until then, your birthday's going to be announced every freaking Monday.
Every freaking Monday.
What do you say we do?
Unless I play golf.
Oh. What do you say we do some weather?
What are you, tired?
I'm getting sleepy.
What the fuck, man?
I don't know.
What is your deal?
I don't know. Let's do weather.
All right.
From your Barside Jive Global Weather Center, where we try to stick to the current weather since forecasts are always so wrong. Shit, I forgot to do. So here we go. Local AJ's weather is, it's currently clear and sunny.
Hot as fuck.
No more rain. It's a little bit warmish. What's the temperature?
Fucking 99.
Well, I doubt it's that high, but it's probably in the 90s.
Feels like 99.
Yeah, it is humid. A lot. The moisture factor.
Winds out of the south. I mean, excuse me, out of the north?
No, out south.
No,
Can't be out of the north.
Look.
Dude, it'd be cooler. Oh, it's 93. 93. 93.
93.
Tell them 93.
93.
Okay.
Winds out of the north.
And
the flag's fucking blowing that way.
Yeah, but it can't be out of
Look.
the north. It's too hot to be out of
The
the north.
flag's fucking blowing that way.
I think it's I think it's because of the buildings. I think it's deceitful.
You think so?
Yeah, and I don't think there's a much of a chance of rain, do you? Maybe 10%, maybe.
It's not very moist.
Not very moist.
Not
No, it
very
is moist. It's humid as shit out there.
It is. It is.
Air quality is, I don't know. It was 48
Good.
last week.
It's good.
That's in the good zone.
Yeah.
So, wind has been out of the west at like 6.
Oh, it's coming out of the fucking
It's
north
probably-
right now.
AJ says the north. I'm guessing he's wrong, but I think the wind. I think
Flags
it's
don't
probably
lie.
like 12 miles per hour. I'm guessing
No,
based
it's
upon
like-
the
it's
flag
like 24.
action.
It's like 24 flying
If
out
they
there
hadn't
right
put those flags out there, 24
now. Yeah, look at
24
it.
miles per hour.
Crazy.
You think?
Yeah. It's like a tornado out there.
AJ, you had too much beer. Anyway, the sun. I don't know when it's going to set. 8 something. 8:37 maybe. 8:30. 8:40
As
maybe.
long as it's after 7, I'm okay.
Yeah. We are always improving our weather reports here with cutting edge technology thanks to your donations to paypal.me/Barside Jive Live.
This way.
Yeah, yeah.
This way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we're currently upgrading based upon your contributions to paypal.me/Barside Jive Live. And so using that aforementioned technology, we will recap using our exclusive Barside Jive Outdoor Conditions rating system. Here we go, AJ. Umbrella index is
Hi.
UV index is
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that one. Let's go back. Umbrella index is heavy rain.
no, that was last week, so it's probably
you
none.
fucked
It's
that up.
probably
None. Let's just say none.
UV index
High.
is mosquito index is.
Well, you know.
Dude, I've got 1,000,000 mosquitoes at my place. They're like, I can't even sit outside.
They don't even fuck with me, man.
Dude, I need one of those.
I need enough garlic. That they
Do
don't even
you?
fuck with. Yeah,
I need one of those those shotguns. Fly
Just
guns.
eat more garlic. Hey, AJ's hack: eat more garlic.
Well, okay, I'll trust you.
Try it, man. Try it.
Sweat index is.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Heat index is.
Yeah, it's all over us.
Yeah. And the moon phase is.
Nobody cares.
No one cares.
Yeah. It's like some Wabius Faben something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Schizimus
Yeah.
gladimus.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Another-
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Sometimes we got to look into that.
I
okay?
know. I don't know. I got to figure it out. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to figure it out.
I'm gonna figure it out.
I don't want to know.
I am.
I don't want to know.
I do. I'm curious,
It's
man.
probably some kind of nerdy thing. Don't even look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. Not today. I'm not doing anything today except this. So
You know, guys, another place no stranger to lots of rain is the Big Easy. So let's go out to New Orleans, Louisiana for a look at one of our Canal Street cams.
They're doing the garbage can conga.
It's a bunch of garbage cans pulling a train.
they should just flush that toilet.
It looks like it's washing away the trash cans down there in New Orleans.
They should just flush it.
Dude, when I lived there, oh my God. Talk about moist. I mean,
It's a toilet bowl.
Oh, dude, I really enjoyed it there, but you'd walk outside, and it was so freaking humid, man.
Well, it's the same thing in Houston. Houston,
Oh,
man,
same.
shit. I grew up there, man, and
Yeah,
I'd take a shower 3 or 4 times a day just to
yeah,
kind of cool off.
yeah,
It's nasty.
yeah.
Nasty.
Humidity is so bad
But
there.
the nightlife is good.
Nightlife is good. The arts, the music scene in New Orleans is awesome. I do miss that, but the food was outstanding.
I really don't miss the nightlife because I'm here in Grapevine, and we got a lot of nightlife here.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You know,
Hey,
Boner
dude,
help.
we got a show going on.
You know, guys, Boner helps me write the show every week. I guess you know that, and he told me some rainy weather jokes. All right, so I'm gonna lay them on you. So, what is the Mexican weather report? Chilly today, and hot tamale.
I don't even know if that's right, man.
That's what he said. How can Santa deliver presents during a thunderstorm? Duh. His sleigh is flown by reindeer. Rain.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thunderstorm. Why is sex like a thunderstorm? You never know how many inches you'll get and how long it'll last.
See, I'm not getting it, man. I'm not.
Oh, Boner, boy, he comes up with them, doesn't he? And that's your global weather from your Barside Jive meteorologist. Kinda. Here at Barside Jive. Our weather was brought to you by our friends over at Old Spice.
Danger excites me, but I can't fully enjoy it when I smell like fear and body odor, so I prepare myself with a manly scent of Old Spice Danger Zone. Because even if something bad does happen to a Danger Zone man, it won't smell like something bad happened, because the secret to smelling is... And when you smell like Old Spice Danger Zone, trust me, you'll smell like you have nothing to worry about.
You smell like you look amazing.
Amazing, I know.
Introducing Old Spice Danger Zone with all-day odor protection.
Dude, I am so glad to see Old Spice updating their brand because, I mean, you remember Old Spice? I mean, that would be what your granddad would have in his bathroom. Right.
Yeah.
You still wear Old Spice?
Yeah. What the fuck, man? You don't? What do you use?
I don't use Old Spice. No, no, I never use Old Spice. Never used
Man,
Minute.
get in here and get this.
Never used
Come
Minute.
here. Get in there and get this, man. This is good, man. You'll love it.
That's Old Spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Good shit, man.
Let's take a
Works.
quick look at traffic. So AJ, how's it look out there on Main Street today?
Not a car in sight. It's Flag Day and the flags are waving.
Flags are waving, blowing out of the north.
Yeah, blowing out.
Blowing that hot air out of the north. Well, guys, it may be fine here on Main Street in historic downtown Grapevine, Texas, but let's go to Pablo Sinclair for an update on a tragic accident on I-75 out in Lexington, Kentucky.
What the fuck is Pablo doing in fucking Lexington, Kentucky?
A tragedy of sorts struck the Lexington Police Department when a Krispy Kreme donut truck was destroyed in a fire. Fire crews were able to successfully extinguish the flames and no one was hurt in the incident, but much to the horror of the officers on the scene, the donuts could not be saved.
I'm there. I'd be all fucking
Oh,
tore
man, now that is a tragedy.
I'd be all fucking tore up.
That is a tragedy. Fuck. The whole fucking truck.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah. Moment of silence. Guys, this
Put my glasses.
donations can be made to the Lexington, Kentucky Law Enforcement Emotional Support GoFundMe account at paypal.me/Barside Jive Live. And speaking of donuts,
I like donuts.
I do too. Joe Bag of Donuts walks into a brothel. He tells the madam he wants something really special, and money is no object. So she leads him to a room with these two beautiful nymphettes, and he
What does that
engages in a passionate hour of sex. A few weeks later, he can't deny himself, so he goes back. Only this time, the madam leads him to a room with a chicken in lingerie. He scoffs at it, but the madam assures him he's going to have a good time. An hour later, he comes out covered in sweat and feathers with an expression of pure ecstasy on his face. The next week, he goes back, and this time the madam leads him into a room There's another man in the room with a two-way mirror where a young couple is having sex. He watches for a bit, uncomfortable with the other guy there, and finally mutters, "This isn't very exciting." The other guy says, "Yeah, I know what you mean, but you should have been here last week to see that guy with that chicken."
I like that.
You had me there for a minute. I was getting a little uncomfortable with it, but yeah.
Guy with that chicken.
Oh, God.
Gross.
That's gross, man.
Let's bust a move. That'll bring us up to our featured guest segment, which is sponsored by Hip and Hippie. Hip and Hippie is a planet-loving company known for its high-quality, earth-friendly, 100% recyclable candle line and natural body care products. It's no wonder eco-supporting people love Hip and Hippie. hipandhippie.com. That's what keeps us looking so good, isn't it?
You got the wrong arm, man.
No, you got the wrong. It's insides. So, I already smelt it.
Hold on.
I already smelled
Yeah.
it.
No, it's this one.
Old Spice.
It's this one.
Old Spice. As I mentioned earlier today, my featured guest is Elliot Lurie. He's a singer and songwriter best known for the hit Brandy. You're a Fine Girl. Recorded by Looking Glass, featuring Lurie on vocals and guitar, Brandy was released in the summer of '72. It quickly rose to the top of the charts, selling over 1 million copies and becoming one of the world's most played radio records of the year.
That's a lot of copies.
A lot.
A lot.
Over time, the song has endured, recorded by such disparate artists as Kenny Chesney and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
For real?
And featured in numerous films and TV productions, including Charlie's Angels.
They just did it on Dodge.
The
Dodge
Simpsons. Dodge the trucks.
Yeah.
It was prominently featured in the blockbuster Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, in which Kurt Russell's character describes it as possibly Earth's greatest composition. So guys, I'll be right back with Elliot Lurie after this quick break.
They say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be.
Welcome back to Barside Jive. It is time for me to introduce my guest. I would like to welcome American singer, songwriter, and guitarist Elliot Lurie, best known as the lead guitarist and frequently lead vocalist of American pop rock band Looking Glass. It's a real pleasure having you here today, Elliot.
My pleasure to be with you, DC.
Well, thank you. Was that intro okay?
Yes, it was fine.
Okay. So you did share vocal responsibilities, right?
Yeah, in Looking Glass, we really had two lead singers. One was the bass player named Pete Sweevel, and unfortunately, he passed away quite some time ago.
Right.
We shared lead vocals when we played out, and we started as a bar band and played fraternity parties and things like that, and we shared the vocals. And when we first started writing our own material, we both wrote for the band too.
Okay. Like I said, it was great having you here today. Been looking really forward to this. I know you've been doing this a long time now. You're what, 72? 72.
And I can't lie about it because you can look it up.
It's all over the internet, right? If you can believe everything you read on the internet.
That's right.
Looking back at your career, Elliot, what do you think? What first comes to mind?
Well, of course, Brandy comes to mind first because that's what I'm most associated with, and it was such a gigantic hit record, and thankfully, it still seems to hang around. And it's not only folks who were young when it was first out, but even folks who are young now seem to know the song and enjoy it. So obviously, that's the first thing that sticks out. And that first sort of phase of my career, which was Looking Glass, from the times that we were starting out as a bar band to the two albums we recorded, and that was a chunk of my early life through my 20s. I did some solo work after that, and then I had an entire second career. I became a music supervisor, and eventually an executive, if you can believe it or not, at one of the big film studios in charge of music. So that was kind of a whole second career that I had. And I stopped doing that about 10 years ago, and then went back to performing after all those years. So it's kind of gone full circle for me that way.
So is there anything left on your bucket list?
I don't have a bucket list. I don't keep a bucket list. I try to, when something interests me or something excites me, I try to go after it and do it. I don't really have a bucket list. I guess if I sat down and was asked to make one, I could, but I just look for stuff that, if something interests me, I go for it. Mostly it's related to music. But I have a lot of other interests as well. I'm not a real outdoorsy type, so there's not like a special scenic outdoorsy place that I'm looking forward to see. But I like to get into different kinds of ideas and things, mostly in music, but beyond that as well.
Right. Now you're from the Northeast, right?
Yeah, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Right. Boy, you don't sound like it.
Well, I've lived in Los Angeles now for over 30 years, so I guess the accent has moderated a bit after all that time. Yeah, they've converted you. Also, I find that your accent is very contagious. Whenever I speak to someone with your accent, I find myself starting to speak in that accent. So if I do that, you catch me, okay? Dude, you can't do that living in LA, man. They'll make fun of you. Yeah. Are you still in LA? Yeah, still living here. Yeah. If you were to have to create a bucket list, if I was to ask you to sit down and write one, does anything come to mind that you kind of leaning towards? I really haven't traveled through Europe as much as I would like to. I would like to see certain areas of Europe that I've never been to. I've been to London and to England a number of times, But as Three Dog Night says, I've never been to Spain. But
Right.
I have been to Oklahoma. But I would like to do the whole European thing of Spain and France and Italy and all that. I really haven't done that, and I would love to do that. Yeah.
Well, back in the 70s, when you guys were cranking out a couple of big hits there, did you not make it over to Europe at the time?
No, I tell you, the interesting thing about Brandy was it wasn't really a hit. It was only a hit in the United States and in Australia. It wasn't really a hit in Europe, and people are familiar with it now in Europe, I guess from all the movies and television it's been in. But It wasn't a hit then, so we never got offered any kind of European tours or anything like that. When I was working as a music supervisor, I had to go to London a number of times, and I liked it. But those other European countries are, I guess if I have my bucket list, they're on it.
Right. Well, take it from someone that actually worked in the Middle East for a couple of years and got to travel all over England, Germany, Greece, all over the place over there. There's a lot to see, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to see. I tell you where I have been a couple of times is China. I haven't been there in a long time, but I had a little business thing going at one time with a fellow I went to school with, and he had an office in Beijing.
Huh.
It's about 12, 15 years ago. And I went over there quite a bit, and it certainly was interesting. I'll say that. Very interesting.
Yeah, I bet so. Yeah. Now, I've never been over in Asia, but that would be an interesting trip to Beijing.
Yeah.
As long as I got to come back.
What's that?
As long as they let me come back.
Yeah. Well, this was 15 years ago. Things were a little different then than they are now.
Yeah. 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 I would think so. Well, same way. When I was in the Middle East, I could freely travel there. No concerns. I mean, there were places that the State Department advised you not to go.
Were you over there on personal stuff or on business stuff or on military stuff?
I actually worked for a couple of years for the State Department, believe it or not, and had a 2-year contract. And while I was there, we were working 7 days a week, 10-hour days. And so we accumulated vacation time at a pretty rapid pace. So it seemed like every month that I would have vacation time I needed to take. So, boy, I took advantage of it, man. I went everywhere. In fact, one of the funnest places I went was Liverpool. It was a really cool trip to see where the guys were, raised. All those things they sung about in those songs are there.
Yeah.
For the most part. So it was really cool.
I play from time to time with a guy named Peter Beckett, who was in the group Player, Baby Come Back.
Right.
We do some of these yacht rock shows together. And he's from Liverpool. And he tells a lot of stories about when he was 14 and 15, sneaking into those clubs like the Cavern Club and all that. And just when that scene was starting to really take off over there, he's got some good stories about back then.
Oh, I bet so. Yeah, the Cavern Club was, of course, one of my stops. Just a lot of music history over there. So it's, it's a really cool place to travel if you have the time.
So you were like a babe when they came out, but you still grew up on them anyway, huh?
Yeah, I guess the first exposure I had to rock music would have been the Beatles, and it would have been my aunt's 45s that she used to play on her turntable. And that's what really turned me on to rock. And then I advanced pretty quick, though. I moved straight from the Beatles to Steppenwolf. And then later on, Led Zeppelin. But yeah, the Beatles were huge. Most of the musicians I've chatted with, the Beatles were instrumental. Some of them give credit to Elvis.
The Beatles changed everything because I was like 15 when they first hit in 1963, and I was already playing in bands. I was playing in high school bands, and we had a band with a bunch of guys in the neighborhood. We would play, we were cover band. We'd play weddings and stuff like that. We'd play everything from the old standards to whatever was a hit at the time. And when they came on, especially when they came on Ed Sullivan, they changed everything, because they all of a sudden said, wow, you can do this and you can write your own songs and play your own instruments and do the whole thing. Because a lot of the music, pop music that I grew up on was stuff, a lot of it came out of, what they used to call the Brill Building in New York, with the professional songwriters and great songwriters, people like Carole King and Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil and Phil Spector and all these people who worked out of the Brill Building in New York City. And they would write the songs, and then they would give them to producers, and the producers would find the group, whether it was the Shirelles or the Ronettes or whoever it might be.
Right.
That's the way you made records back then. And those were the records that you would hear on the radio. There were very few self-contained bands that were writing and playing their own material on the radio until they came along. So that, and I was already playing in a band, as I say, so that kind of opened your eyes, and it's all of a sudden, wow, you can do this just in a self-contained way. So it changed everything.
Well, Elliot, while we're on this subject, let's rewind a little bit. Can you tell me how you were first exposed to music?
I was a radio junkie. I would listen to the radio constantly. I was one of those stereotypical kids who at 11 years old had his transistor radio under his pillow, and I would twist it down and try to get to out-of-town stations when the signal was good.
Right.
We were lucky in New York City because we had 4 great top 40 stations in New York City. Plus, we had 2 R&B stations that came in from Newark, New Jersey, and there was one in New York. So we had plenty of radio to listen to. And I listened so much that I think it was for my 12th birthday, I convinced my mother to buy me one of those old Wallensack reel-to-reel tape recorders. And I would take the little alligator clips and plug them onto the radio speaker. And I guess I was pirating the music. But what I would do is I would sit there and listen to radio at night. And when a song that came on that I really loved, I would hit the record button, and I would just record the songs off the radio. I even did that when the Beatles were on Sullivan. I put the alligator clips on the TV speaker, and my father was yelling at me, "Don't move the TV, you're gonna break the TV." But I did all that. So I was a real avid listener. I loved pop music. I used to sit around in my room and, sing with the records. And even before I played an instrument, sort of, when I was like 10 or 11, pretend that I was playing the piano on one of the records. So I really, really, really loved it, grew up on it. And I started playing guitar when I was about 13, I guess.
Now, how did that happen?
Well, an aunt of mine, for some reason, bought me a ukulele for a present. And I don't know why, because I never really had expressed any interest in playing, but she brought me this ukulele. And I got a book and I started playing, and it was pretty cool and I liked it. And then one day it was sitting on the couch and I accidentally sat on it and I broke the ukulele. So I didn't have that anymore. And by that time I had learned it well enough, and there was enough stuff going on. I said, guitar only has 2 more strings. So if I can get one of those and learn how to play it, that might be cool. So I guess I got my first guitar when I was about 12 or 13. And I had a good teacher. I had an actual guitar teacher. I used to take I lived in Brooklyn. So I used to take the city bus after school to where his little studio was. And he was an old jazz guy from the 30s and 40s. He had played in big bands. And he taught me all the jazz chords and how to read music and all that kind of stuff. He's a very good teacher. And I just stuck with it from there on, and I just loved it.
I mean, you were interested enough in it that you didn't have to be made to practice.
Oh no, I was there on time every week, and I would go home and practice the way I was supposed to. I loved it. I was into it.
Was your mom and dad pretty supportive?
They were supportive. I mean, neither one of them were really musically inclined, but they were supportive. I mean, we were like middle class, working class families, so we didn't have a lot of money. But they found enough money to get me like a cheap starter guitar to start on, and then I had saved up some money from doing odd jobs and got my first electric guitar. It wasn't like it wasn't a real fancy electric guitar, but it was good enough,
Hmm. When you got in your first bar band, were you still living at home?
Oh yeah, matter of fact, I got a gig. One of the first gigs I got, it was two other guys. It was a three-piece band. It was weird instrumentation. It was a guitar, a sax player, and a drummer. No bass player, no piano.
Huh.
And we got hired to play at this bar on the other side of Brooklyn. And I was 15 years old. So first of all, I wasn't supposed to be in the bar to begin with. And I remember, and we didn't have a car because you don't always need a car in Brooklyn. So a lot of families didn't have a car. You had subways and buses and stuff. So I remember taking my guitar and a little tiny amp that I had, getting on the city bus in Brooklyn and going across the other side of Brooklyn and playing this show at this bar where we weren't supposed to be in the first place. And we were supposed to get a portion of the door. That was the deal. We're going to get a portion of the door. And I remember it, and the place was pretty full, you know, and we played our set, you know, and played all night, like 4 sets. And at the end of the night, bar owner came to give us our cut of the take. And I remember that my take-home pay was $2.25, which even for 1961 wasn't a lot of money for working all night.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, so I started playing there, and then I had various bands in high school. We had one that actually did a couple of demos at the Chappell Records studio in New York. We must have been like maybe 16 at that time.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, no, we you know, because again, I was really into it. I mean, anytime that I could play with people and do it, that was my first love. I didn't have a lot of other hobbies or interests. I wanted to play music, and yeah, we had that band for a while. We used to play the drummer's house. His father was a doctor, so he was a little bit more well-to-do, and he had a finished basement in his house. And we used to go over there and rehearse in his finished basement. And his mother was like our manager, Mrs. D, we called her. And she was like our manager, and she got us together with somebody who did some demos with us and stuff. So, you know, we were pretty serious about it for young kids.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow, Chappell Records, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, so, you know, they didn't sign us, but we, you know, I got the demos and all, and it was cool to be in a real recording studio at 16 for Chappell Records. It's fun.
Yeah, that's huge. So let's talk about Looking Glass. So you guys just decided to start a band and called it Looking Glass?
Well, I went off to college at Rutgers University. I didn't really want to go to college, but I wanted to pursue music. But this was 1968. The Vietnam War was raging. I wasn't too keen on going over there because I knew some friends of mine who did go over there, and didn't sound like something I wanted to do. That's for sure.
Right.
So I went to Rutgers University, and the first semester was there. I didn't really care for it too much. I felt a little bit out of place, and I didn't make many friends. So I dropped out for a semester. And here's the story. This is what really hooked me on becoming a musician. So it's my second semester at Rutgers University, and I drop out. I go back home to live with my parents in Brooklyn, and I answer an ad in a newspaper called The Village Voice for a bass player. And I go up and I meet with the guy who put the ad in the player, and he's like a folk singer, and he's got a little trio, and he needs a bass player. So I became his bass player, and it was really a fun thing because, you know, I was 18, I guess, at the time, and he played a lot of the real old village folk clubs like the Bitter End and Gertie's Folk City and all these folk clubs down in the West Village. So that in itself was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a side gig, this fellow, his name was Steve Barron, and he had a side gig where he was part of a comedy group. And the comedy group put out a comedy record, which became a hit in New York City. It was a version of the old song Wild Thing by the Tribes.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
It was Wild Thing. But they did it in the voice of Robert Kennedy, who was still alive at the time. So they did it, if you could ever find it anywhere, if you search for it, they were called the Hardly Worth It Players, okay? And they did this version of Wild Thing.
Oh, come on, Wild Thing. Not so ruthless, Senator. You make my heart sing. That's it. Snap your fingers, Senator. All right.
That became the top 10 record in New York. It was a novelty.
No kidding.
So every Easter time, the famous New York disc jockey, Murray the K, would have these rock and roll shows for a week long at one of the big theaters in New York, usually the Paramount Theater in New York. And I had been going to those shows when I was 14 and 15 years old because he had great shows. He always had people like, I mean, I saw everybody in those shows from the Ronettes to Stevie Wonder to Ray Charles to Mitch Ryder in Detroit. He had everybody on those shows. I used to love going to them.
Right.
Well, because this novelty band had this hit, right at that time, they were asked to be on his show for that Easter, his review. And this was in 1968, and the music was changing. So Murray Decay had on this particular Easter show, The Who and Cream for their first New York appearances, along with the other kind of acts that he always used to book, like Wilson Pickett and Mitch Ryder, Detroit Wheels. And so I get to do this show with the Hardly Worth It Players, and we wind up sharing the dressing room with The Who for 7 days. And at night after the shows, there's jam sessions going on. I remember one night, Wilson Pickett picked up a bass he was playing, and Al Cooper from Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Blues Project before that, he was playing a little electronic keyboard. And I wanted to play with them. And Eric Clapton was there. And at that point, I didn't really know who Eric Clapton was. I mean, he was a member of the Cream, but I didn't know he was like the greatest guitar player in the world. And I said, can I use your guitar? And he said, yeah. And I'm playing, if you've ever seen the old pictures of Cream with the psychedelically painted Gibson SG that he used to play. Right. So I'm playing that, and Wilson Pickett's playing bass, and Al Cooper's playing piano. At that point, I said, there's nothing in the world I want to be but a musician. This is the greatest. But I got called by the draft board. So I go to the draft board. I did all the things that they told you back in those days to do when you went to the draft board to make sure that you wouldn't get drafted. You know, stay up for 4 days, take a bunch of pills, you know, don't take a shower for 4 days. I showed up there, I did all that, and they classified me 1A. And, you know, I would have gone off to Vietnam. So I went back to Rutgers University to get my student deferment. And then at Rutgers, I met these 3 other guys, and we formed a band that played, you know, fraternity parties, and we played at, you know, local bars in the Central Jersey area. And that's the band that became Looking Glass.
Mm. Wow. Guys, you are watching Barside Jive with my guest, Elliot Lurie of American pop rock band Looking Glass. So who came up with the name?
We were looking for a name. We went through a whole bunch of names. And I think we were sitting in my car one night, probably a little high. And we were looking for that. Somebody was looking at the rearview mirror. He said, what about the mirrors? I said, nah, I don't like the mirrors. You know, it's like the psychedelic days, but how about a looking glass? You know, something like that. So that stuck. I think about 2 years into it, we weren't that happy with the name, but that was our name at that point. We'd had a hit record, so we were Looking Glass.
Wow. So right away, you guys score this huge hit. I mean, that we're still playing today. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl. And that was in about, what, 72?
72, yeah.
Wow.
But it wasn't that right away, you see, because, you know, like I said, I was, this band formed at college in 1969. So that album came out in 72. I guess that's pretty quick. But, you know, we played a lot of big gigs and stuff like that. And we got signed to a record deal. We found a manager, got us signed to a record deal at CBS. And made that album. And, you know, that record jumped out kind of by chance. You know the story behind how that record jumped out, Brandy?
I would love for you to tell it.
So we had made this album. And when we were a bar band, we played around, we were a little more hard-edged than the sound of Brandy. First of all, we're just a quartet, guitar, piano, and organ, and bass and drums. And, you know, we had started as a bar band. So when we did cover stuff, we would do everything from like Motown to the Stones. So Brandy was a little bit more pop than the band was. So we didn't want to lead with that as a single. We picked something else off the album that we thought was more representative of our sound. And the record company put that out as the first single, and it wasn't really doing much of anything. And a promotion man, you know, radio promotion man, he was going around to the stations, and his territory included Washington, D.C. So he went to the top 40 station in Washington, D.C., and he said to the program director, he said, "Have you heard this Looking Glass thing?" You know, he's promoting it. And the program director says, "Yeah, I've been playing that one track that they had up, but nothing's happening. It's not really getting any reaction." So the promotion man, his name is Robert Mandel. I still see him every once in a while. He said, "Do you have a minute? I want to play something else." And he had a test pressing, you know, the old-fashioned test pressings on acetate.
Right.
And he said, "I want to play this other track on here." And he played him Brandy right off the test press. And the disc jockey did hard more. Said, "Well, I like that." And he put it right on the air because, you know, back in those days, you could do it. The program director could take it next door to the disc jockey and say, "Hey, play this. Let's see what happens."
Right.
He played it, and the phone started ringing. People started requesting it like crazy. And that's how Brandy turned out to be the single hit record. Otherwise, if that hadn't happened, it might never have seen the light of day.
You know, when you were writing that song, were you thinking, man, this is a hit?
You know, we always got good reaction with that song, whether I played it for somebody else on guitar or whether the band played it as part of their sets at the club. It always got good reaction. So I certainly knew that it had possibilities. It was one of the ones that could maybe go. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I want to stop a minute. Rewind. So I assume you got your student deferral.
Yes, I did. But I was still eligible when I graduated, and then, you know, they had that lottery at that time.
Right.
And I got the good number there, so that was all right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you happen to lose friends over there, Elliot?
I did lose some, and I also had a few who went over there and came back and were never the same.
Yeah.
Never the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it had quite a toll, not just in death, on a lot of guys.
Yeah, I know a couple of guys who I was actually pretty close to who went over. Unfortunately, did come back, but kind of never got over it.
Yeah. You know, back to Brandy, it's been covered by artists from Kenny Chesney all the way to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, how does that make you feel?
I love both of those versions, and it's pretty great. But one of the things that's interesting to me, DC, is that, like, I happen to know one of the guys who wrote the song "You Are So Beautiful." You know, "You are so beautiful to me." Yeah. And if you look at that song, you see there's like 200 artists who have covered it. So Brandy is not, considering how much it's become part of the culture, it's not really been covered that widely. I don't know why that is, but it's, you know, "You Are So Beautiful" is like, it was a big hit, certainly as big a hit as Brandy, but it's kind of become more of a kind of standard that people cover. But I love the Kenny Chesney version, very faithful to the original, although it's got a little bit of his little beachy sound and his country sound.
Right.
And the Red Hot Chili Peppers version, they sound very much like we did when we would play it in a bar, because they're only, you know, they're only a 4-piece. Right. So they sound like that. Yeah, those are two covers. But I sometimes, you know, on YouTube, it's there's a lot of people singing it on YouTube, and some professional and some not. But I found a couple of versions on YouTube by people I'd never heard of that I kind of like a lot.
Dude, let me tell you something. I remember I had a paper route with the Dallas Morning News. In fact, I had 2 routes. And I remember rolling my newspapers on the garage floor of our home. It'd be 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd be listening to a transistor AM radio and hear Brandy.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember it from back then. I was junior high, 7th grade, 8th grade. So all these years, that song has just been, you know, for a pop song, it's just been one of my favorites always. Yeah, it's just crazy. That song is one of those songs that really takes me back to that time in my life and really helps me to remember, you know, what was going on and, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
A lot of people say that, but you know, I think that also has to do with how old you were and what you were doing when the song came out. For instance, there were songs that I remember from when I was like 12, 13, 15 years old.
Yeah.
That do the same thing to me. They say that the songs that you're exposed to between those ages, like 12 and 15, those are the ones that really stay with you and bring you back to that time and place.
Right. And the coolest thing about it is, although we're much older, I'm talking to you right now, and you're the dude that wrote the song and sang it, and that's cool.
I'm glad you think so, DC. I'm glad you think so.
Not everybody gets to do that. So, you know, this is pretty big. This is pretty big for me. So that song Brandy has also been, I know, featured in like numerous films, TV productions, including a couple of biggies here, Charlie's Angels, and even The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the Simpsons one, when I worked at 20th Century Fox later on in my second career, 20th Century Fox Television produced The Simpsons show. And it was one of my projects that I had to oversee. I became friendly with a couple of the producers, one guy, Richard Sakai in particular, and he was always, you know, since we first met and he knew that I was the Brandy guy, he was always looking for a way to put it into The Simpsons, and he finally did.
Is that what they call you, Elliot, the Brandy guy?
I call myself that, you know.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't mind referring to myself as the Brandy guy. I'm the Brandy guy.
Do you have the license plate, Brandy?
No, I do not. I don't have a vanity license plate, no.
Oh, well, you should. But I think really, of all the compliments you could be paid, the one that stood out the most to me was Kurt Russell's character in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he described it as possibly the Earth's greatest composition. That had to make you feel pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you what happened with that. You know, I saw the first Guardians movie.
Right.
Only because from working at Fox and all, I'd become a member of the Motion Picture Academy. And, you know, they send you these DVDs every year of all the movies so you can watch them and vote. And I had the DVD of the first one. And that's not really the kind of movie that I would normally put on, but I had heard so many great things about it. I said, let me see what this is about. And I put it in, and I'm hooked right away, you know, with the opening music and the characters. I'm loving the movie, and I'm loving the way they're using the music in it. And to tell you the truth, I was a little jealous because they used all these great 70s songs. I was thinking, why didn't they use my song? So a year and a half later, I get a call from my music publisher, and he says, we got a request to use Brandy in the sequel to Guardians. You want to do that? And I said, yeah, I want to do that. That'd be great. Of course I want to do it.
Duh.
So she said, okay. She said, I'm going to send you, she said, they sent me over some script pages. So I'm going to send you the script pages to take a look at how they want to use it. And I'm starting to read it, you know, and I'm familiar with reading scripts because I've worked in the movie business. And I'm reading the script, and I start to see this is not like just a background thing or a thing over a montage. This is like part of the story that they're using it.
Right.
So, you know, so I'm starting to get really even more excited. Then about 4 or 5 months before, I started to correspond a little bit by email with the director, James Gunn. And, you know, he told me how glad he was to have the song, and I was told him how glad I was that he was using it. And about 4 months before the movie came out, they sent me the clips of the scenes in which the song was used. And I'm sitting there with my wife and we're watching it. And we get to that scene where Kurt Russell says that about the song, and our mouths are like hanging open, like, what? So it was pretty great.
Yeah, gosh, I guess so. Can't imagine. So tell me, who is Brandy?
Who is Brandy? Is an entirely fictional character. I did steal the name, however, from a high school sweetheart of mine. Her name was Randy, Randye. And when I write, and I still write that way to this day, I'll usually sit at a guitar or a keyboard and I'll play a riff or I'll play some chord changes. And once I get something that I like, I'll just sort of sing nonsense lyrics or, you know, free associate over it. And, you know, I wrote this when I was 21, so it wasn't that far away from when I was in high school. And I started singing her name over it. And then once I put the story together, which was an entirely fictional story, I said, well, I can't use the name Randy because, first of all, that name could be a male name or a female name. So that's confusing. And if she's going to be a barmaid, it should be Brandy. So that's how it came about. But the story is made up.
Well, it's a great story, regardless. Well, I appreciate you clearing that up.
Well, people always ask me, they say, you know, were you in the Navy or were you in the Merchant Marine? And I tell them the biggest boat I've ever been on is the Staten Island Ferry. So,
yeah, yeah, right. All right, let's talk about your 1973 hit, Jimmy Loves Marianne.
Okay.
That happened again. That was pretty quick. It was just a year later, right?
Well, in those days, you used to make an album every year. You know, if you had a hit album, you went right back into the studio and made another one.
Right.
Making that album was probably the most enjoyable experience I've ever had in a recording studio, because that album was produced by the late, great Arif Martin. And if anybody doesn't know who Arif Martin was, he produced everybody from the Rascals to Aretha Franklin to Bette Midler to the Bee Gees. I mean, he was just a great producer and a wonderful man. And Clive Davis, who ran our record company, hooked that up for us because Arif really worked for Atlantic Records, and most of the groups that he produced were Atlantic recording artists. But Clive fixed it up so he would produce us. And he was such a great producer and such a wonderful individual. And we worked at those historic old recording studios, the Atlantic Studios on 61st and Broadway. And people would come traipsing in and out in the middle of the night. Dr. John came in one night, probably a little inebriated, may he rest in peace. And, you know, people would just come drifting in and out. Matter of fact, I remember one night, there was a producer named Joel Dorn, who was also a staff producer for Atlantic Records. He's also, unfortunately, passed away now. And we were finished with our recording session. It was about midnight or so. And Joel comes in and he calls us into the back room. He says, guys, he said, I just finished this record, and it's a very unusual record. I did it with Roberta Flack, and it's either no one's ever going to play it or it's a #1 record. And he puts on Roberta's version of Killing Me Softly, which was a very unusual record for the time. And, you know, we just said, Joel, we think you got so. So it was a wonderful place to work. There was a lot of creativity going on there. Arif was great. The band was at its best. We probably played better on that album than we had ever played. And it's just a lot of fun doing. And Jimmy Loves Marianne, you know, if you listen to that, if you have a good vinyl pressing of that and you listen to it on a good turntable, it still sounds great because, you know, Arif was a great producer, and, you know, on the old 16-track, 2-inch analog tape, you know, so it sounds real warm and real good. And that record came out, and it was interesting. In certain markets, like in Chicago, it went to top 5, a couple other markets, and in other markets didn't do as well. But I still like listening to that record. It's a well-made 70s record.
Yeah, absolutely it is. How come Looking Glass disbanded after you guys had those successes?
What happened was, going back to what we started to talk about at the beginning, we had 2 lead singers and 2 writers in the band. And our material was very different from each other's. We both appreciated each other's material. We liked playing it and we liked recording it, but it was very different. And Peter's stuff was more from the gene pool of it was a little bit more country influenced, a little more rock influenced, and mine was a little bit more R&B influenced and more pop influenced. And once Brandy had become so big, it was clear that what the audience expected of Looking Glass was Brandy or Brandy type material. They were used to my voice, my writing. And when we went to play live, a lot of times people were disappointed because only some of the material sounded anything like Brandy. And plus, when we toured, we were a 4-piece band. We didn't have the horns and all the production stuff that Brandy and Jimmy Loves Marianne had. So it was hard to really get Looking Glass as an identifiable band because we had 2 different writers and 2 different sounds on records. And then when we went to play live, we didn't sound like either side of the records really. So there was no real future in that. Once you had done 2 albums and had a hit and a half, you would expect that people had a certain image of the band, but they didn't at that point.
Right.
I left. I did a solo thing. Nothing happened with that. The other guys carried on Looking Glass for a little bit, and then 2 of them started a glam metal band called Stars, S-T-A-R-Z. They were managed by the same guys who managed Kiss, and they did some big tours, and they had a kind of successful album or 2.
So the original guys, Elliot, the original Looking Glass, where are they today? What's going on with them?
Well, Peter, as I said, he passed away quite some time ago.
Oh, your bass player.
The bass player. The drummer, whose real name is Jeff Grove, but has always gone by the name of Joe Doobie, he and I are still in touch. He lives in New Jersey, and he goes out and plays with some of the Stars members as Stars. So he goes out and plays occasionally with them. And Larry, who was the keyboard player, he gave up the music business, but he became a music teacher in the public school system in New Jersey.
Wow.
And he did that for many years and just recently retired from that. And he was a very well respected and beloved teacher in the school where he taught.
Wow. Do you guys ever, except for of course the bass player, do you guys ever get together and play?
Well, I have with Doobie, with the drummer, because if I'm playing a show in a town where he's nearby, I'll have him come in and sit in on the drums. So I've done that at least 3 or 4 times with Doobie. And Larry's moved down to Georgia and he hasn't played in a while, so it's more difficult with him. But I do play with Doobie when I get a chance to.
I guess, Elliot, everything happens for a reason. I really believe that. And I know that your solo work that you did, it never really got a lot of traction, although I wonder why. But your career, your second career that you call it, doing music for film and TV, that really turned out to be a big thing for you. So
it did, and I was very fortunate. I mean, it's a long story about somebody knew somebody, but it kept me involved with music, and I learned a whole bunch of stuff about making movies and television, and kind of learned on the job. But it was very interesting. I mean, some of the directors and our producers I worked with, not going to name drop, but there's some great, wonderfully talented people, and then also some really crazy people too. You think musicians are crazy? You got to work with a couple of film directors.
Yeah, I bet. You ever worked with Scorsese?
No.
Tarantino?
No, never worked with Tarantino.
Just curious.
No, didn't work with them.
Couple,
But
a couple of my favorites. I just thought I'd throw them out there.
yeah, no, I didn't work with either of them. I did work with no, now I'm gonna forget his name. Jim, who directed Alien 2 and Titanic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I worked with, and now I like it. James.
James. Jay.
He was the king of the world, and now we can't think of his name.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm the same way.
Names are the first thing to go.
Next week I'll be going. Elliot.
Yeah.
Elliot. No, I'm just kidding. I'll remember you. Now, you do pronounce your last name Lurie?
Lurie, yeah.
Lurie, yeah. So, do you have any hobbies outside of music?
No, all I do is I am a big reader. I read constantly books of all kinds, mostly nonfiction, but I'm a big reader. I can pick up an 800, 900 page book about economics or religion or whatever it is, and I'll read it all the way through. I'm a big reader.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you'll find me on my patio out here in LA getting a suntan and working my way through an 800 page economics book. That's what I do for fun.
What does your wife do?
What's that?
What does your wife?
My wife doesn't work. She's my third wife. We've been married now for 6 years, and I am head over heels in love with her, and very happy. But she doesn't work.
Yeah, good. So that gives you guys a lot of time to hang out.
It does, and of course, over the past year, it's been kind of difficult. I mean, we've definitely been hanging out. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten too much on each other's nerves and killed each other being locked together for so long. But
right.
And her daughter lives with us, so we have a pretty homey kind of life in LA. I mean, before the whole COVID thing and stuff, we would go out to shows with folks and screenings and stuff like that. I still get invited to those. Do the LA kind of stuff, go out to restaurants and all. This last year has been kind of tough, so we've been at home like most people, but we're fortunate here in LA. The weather's usually good. We have a little outdoor space at our house, so it's been better than a lot of people have had. And I'll tell you, it's been a rough year.
Oh man, it has for everybody. But I think the end is in sight.
I think so.
Yeah. So I'm not going to keep you much longer, Elliot, and I've really enjoyed this.
I tour occasionally, but I do write and record some new stuff, which is available under my name on Spotify. And people say my voice hasn't changed too much. And I don't put a lot of stuff up there. So if you're interested, you want to go there and listen to what I've been up to lately, there's a couple of things on there that I'm kind of happy with.
Yes, I'd love to, and I'm sure the audience would too. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Well, I can tell actually through our conversation that your voice sounds pretty much the same as it did when you recorded Brandy. I mean, it sounds pretty spot on to me.
When I go out and play live, people say, wow, you can still hit the notes. And I say, well, because I was a baritone, I never had to hit any high notes to begin with, so I could still make them,
Right. Well, that's me. I'm a baritone like you. Now, I understand that you're retired from the film industry, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I understand that you've gotten back out and you're playing locally now, right?
I play out, again, before COVID. I hooked up with a band out of Atlanta called Yacht Rock Review. So Yacht Rock it's a subgenre of music that includes real slick, blue-eyed soul stuff like Hall & Oates, Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins. That's like the essence of yacht rock. And apparently Brandy is considered one of the early yacht rock songs. So I hooked up with this band out of Atlanta called Yacht Rock Review. They're a great band. And basically they're a great cover band that does that kind of material. And they became so successful that they were able to get some of the original voices from these songs to tour with them. That's like I mentioned, Peter Beckett, a player before, and people like Robbie Dupree and Then I played with Ambrosia a couple of times, all under the umbrella of this term yacht rock. So I do a lot of that. And then I do some singer-songwriter shows just at small clubs, usually not too far from LA. I do those too.
So you're not traveling throughout the United States. You're pretty much
not on a continuous tour, but I will go, way out of town to do 1 or 2 shows, either with yacht rock or sometimes I do like 70s kind of shows. I don't have my own band, so I don't do like a whole Elliot Lurie show with a band, but usually I go out with bands and other performers. And I'll do that all around the United States. I was in, I guess it was Fort Worth about a year and a half ago with Yacht Rock Review.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, dude, if you get back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I definitely want to meet you.
I would definitely let you know, and I have a real beer with you instead of a virtual beer.
Absolutely, that's the best, Elliot. Hey, you know what? I'll buy.
Okay, you're on.
I'll buy. Do you still own the rights for Brandy?
No, I never did own the rights to Brandy.
Okay.
It's the master recording is owned by Sony, which used to be CBS, and the song is published by Warner Chappell. But they send me my checks every once in a while, so they're good.
I bet those checks are good, aren't they?
they sometimes they can be, depending on what's going on at the time. They can be, yeah.
Yeah, I bet they are, man. You've been getting those a long time too, haven't you?
Almost 50 years now.
Dude, yeah. Wow. Elliot, I just wish you and your family the very best health, happiness, and success that this life has to offer.
Thanks. Same to you, DC.
You're welcome. Everything Elliot Lurie can be found on his website, elliotllurie.com. And as always, I will include links to his music in the description below. So all you have to do is click. I appreciate you hanging out with Elliot and I today, and please like and share this video and click subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free, and then click the tiny bell to receive notifications when I post something new. That will wrap this episode of Barside Jive, and until next time, peace, love, and rock and roll.
Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be.
Barside Jive shall not be responsible for any incorrect or inaccurate information caused by this broadcast. Barside Jive does assume, however, all responsibility for the satirical nature of its content and for the occasional fictional nature of its content. All characters appearing in this broadcast, even those based on real people, except for our featured guests, of course, are entirely fictional, and any resemblance between them and any persons living dead or undead is purely a miracle.
BarsideJive.com.
Let's bust a move.